not a science. Be creative. You may need to use more than one technique to resolve a particular conflict. Watch how techniques can be combined to resolve conflicts that occur when you face aggressive behavior, role confusion, stereotyping, and manipulation. The techniques will be highlighted on screen as they're used in the situation. Again, as you view these situations, notice how several techniques are used in conjunction with each other to resolve the conflict. When a conflict occurs in a public setting, you don't always have the opportunity to resolve it. You may find it necessary to resolve it privately. If you ignore such conflicts or are unable to resolve them successfully, your authority and credibility may be undermined. This can adversely affect your image as someone who is influential and able to elicit cooperation. You're especially put to the test when facing aggressive people who tend to communicate in an angry or humiliating manner. Watch the way Tim remains assertive at this staff meeting and then resolves his conflict privately.
Tim?
Yes. I think we might consider doing our promotion in the spring rather than the fall. Our market research shows we can increase our orders by as much as 20%.
What? That's totally ridiculous. It'll never work.
I'm sorry that you disagree, but I think it's an idea worth discussing. Why do you think it won't work?
Yes, that's great. All right, get back to me on that.
George?
Yes?
Would you have a moment to talk?
Sure, what's up?
George, I wanted to tell you that I felt very humiliated at this morning's meeting when you interrupted me to say that my idea was totally ridiculous. Even though I'm new at this company, I'd like to feel comfortable contributing my ideas and input. Also, when you spoke to me, it felt like you were angry with me, and I wonder if I've offended you in any way. If I have, I'd like to clear the air.
Well, now that you mention it, I think it's a little unusual for a newcomer like yourself to think he knows all the answers to this company's problems.
George, I'm sorry you have that impression of me because I certainly don't know all the answers. But look, I may have a fresh perspective. And I'd certainly be happy to bounce some of my ideas off you in advance of our staff meetings. I'd really appreciate your feedback. George, I'm just interested in making a contribution.
Well, yes, I'm willing to talk with you and be a sounding board. Maybe I've had the wrong impression of you. Why don't you stop by before the next staff meeting and run some ideas by me?
Did you notice that despite the aggressive outbursts by the VP, Tim still remained assertive? If he had just clammed up at the meeting when his idea was attacked, his image and credibility would have suffered, and responding aggressively to the VP would have been even more disastrous. Privately, he opened up discussion with the VP to clear the air by using I versus you language, anticipation, and meta-talk. He let him know that he would not be intimidated about expressing his ideas. Tim then used the technique of self-interest to establish rapport with the VP and promote an atmosphere of cooperation. He did an excellent job of integrating 4 conflict management techniques to resolve his conflict. Conflicts can also arise as a result of what I call role confusion. This is the tendency to treat people in an inappropriate manner based on a misguided perception or confusion about what the appropriate behavior should be. Role confusion may be a result of a person's rigid beliefs, their inability to respect personal boundaries, or just ignorance of what constitutes suitable behavior. It occurs in many forms in the workplace. One kind of role confusion shows itself in the tendency for some men to treat professional women inappropriately in a social manner. Here is a situation where a new marketing manager is introduced to her colleagues. Listen to the way she's introduced. Watch how role confusion shows itself in the form of an inappropriate social remark. And notice how it threatens, perhaps innocently, to undermine her authority and image.
Everyone, I'd like you all to meet Vicki Douglas, our first female product manager. And I might add, a very good-looking woman, too.
Thank you, Peter. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Vicki, I thought you handled yourself beautifully at this morning's meeting. The guys were really impressed.
That's great, Peter. But I'd like to talk with you for a moment about the meeting. It's about the way that you introduced me to the group. You know, your compliment about my looks was very flattering, but I really felt uncomfortable. You see, when I'm complimented about my looks at work, men tend to view me in a typical female role. I'm taken less seriously, and it makes it harder for me to do my job. Now, I know that you expect me to deliver results just like everyone else, and I really think I can, if I'm looked upon as just another capable member of the team. I'd really appreciate getting your support on this.
Huh. I never thought that my comment about your good looks might cause you a problem. But I can see your point. I'll try to watch that in the future. I really do want you to do well in this company.
Peter, thanks for understanding this.
Vicki handled an inappropriate remark with great tact. She used anticipation and I versus you language to approach her new boss in a non-threatening manner. She then used self-interest as a means of eliciting his support for her request. Stereotyping is based on people having prejudiced attitudes and discriminatory beliefs about others. Eventually, stereotyping results in conflicts that cause high personal stress, increased labor turnover, severe morale problems, reduced productivity, and even costly litigation. Yet most of us at work are confronted with the stereotypical attitudes of others on a daily basis.
You're young. What do you know?
You are old and out of step with the times.
You're management. We're union. You'll never understand us.
You're non-technical, we're technical.
You're an accountant. You work with numbers. What can you know about working with people?
You're a woman. You wouldn't know about anything mechanical.
You're not qualified for that job. The only reason you got that promotion was to fill an EEO requirement.
Stereotyping leads to conflicts that adversely affect you, your productivity, and the opportunities you're given. So it's extremely important to resolve these conflicts successfully. Consider this situation. A young minority manager decides to speak with an older employee who's not being cooperative.
Hey, Joe, I'd like to talk with you.
What's up, Ray?
I want to talk with you about our working together. I don't feel I'm getting your full cooperation. Now, are there any problems?
I don't know what you're talking about.
From the tone of your voice, I think there is a problem. Now, let me ask you straight out. Is it a problem for you that I'm so much younger than you, or that I'm Hispanic?
No. Some things just take getting used to.
I hear what you're saying, but I still feel you've got some negative attitudes about working for me. Now, the other day, you completely disregarded my instructions on that work project I assigned you. Now, there's no room for that kind of insubordination around here. If there's a problem between us, I'd like to work it out. Otherwise, I intend to take you off this field project and reassign you to the plant.
Okay, I'll tell you what's bothering me. I've been with this company for 20 years. All of a sudden, you come here with your college degree and become my boss. Probably to fill some quota. Now, what qualifies you to be my boss?
Okay, Joe, I'll answer you. The management in this company picked me for this job because I've been a successful field manager for 2 other construction companies, not to fill any quotas. They believe I'm the one to get the job done. And Joe, with your experience, you could be a big help to me. As long as you remember, my job is to be the manager, and my instructions are to be followed.
Okay, Ray. I get the message loud and clear. You sound like you're determined to run this operation with me or without me. Okay, it'll take some getting used to, working for you, but I can do it. I want to stay in the field.
Fine. Let's get to work.
Ray used Metatalk to open up a discussion. This eventually led to Joe revealing his true feelings as to why he wasn't cooperating. Then Ray set a limit with Joe by letting him know he wouldn't tolerate his insubordination and issued a consequence. As Ray addressed the reasons for Joe's upset, he also used self-interest by acknowledging the importance of Joe's valuable experience. In doing so, he built rapport and elicited Joe's cooperation. Then, Ray set a limit to remind Joe of what was expected of him. As a result, they now have an understanding and can work toward a more productive relationship. Of course, these conflict resolution techniques won't end all stereotyping and discrimination on the job, but you can use these techniques to raise the issues that have bothered you and to build a more positive working relationship. Conflict situations often arise when we're being manipulated by others. What is manipulation? It is managing or influencing others by artful means, fair or unfair, especially to one's advantage or purpose. Yet in business, manipulation is a common way that people accomplish goals and achieve results. People aren't always fully aware of their use of manipulation tactics, and their manipulation may be habitual or even unconscious. There are 4 primary ways that people manipulate each other.
Gee, you're the only one who can help me with this. After all, you've got more experience than anyone else in the company.
My job is really on the line here. I could even lose it if you don't help me.
You've got to help me. Look at all the favors I've done for you. Like last month during budget time, I helped you night after night.
I need your help. And if I can't get it, I can't promise this won't affect your next performance rating.
These are all examples of negative manipulation. But bear in mind that people can manipulate in a positive or a negative manner. The difference often depends on whether you have the other person's best interest at heart or just your own. It's also based on a sense of fairness, respect, and a belief that others have rights to make free choices. In the following situation, Neil has just persuaded Ralph, the executive vice president, to let him co-chair the company's annual fundraiser, under the condition that he get Vicky to be his co-chair for this event and share the workload equally with him.
Hi, Vicky. I've just talked Ralph into having you and me co-chair the hottest event of the year, the annual corporate fundraiser. It'll be a great opportunity for visibility and recognition in this company. I thought I'd come right over so we could begin talking about who does what.
Neil, wait a second. That sounds great, but I just can't accept that responsibility. I know it's a fabulous opportunity, but it'll take lots of time outside of work, and I've already made a commitment to finish up my MBA at night.
I can't believe you would pass up this chance. You are perfect for this job. You'll impress everyone.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, but I still have to say no.
Vicky, this is awfully important. We'd get a lot of recognition, and people get promotions for things like this. And Ralph made it clear to me that we are the team he wants. Please, I need you to work with me on this.
Look, I understand how important this is to you, but I just can't make this commitment.
Huh. After all I've done for you, I can't believe you're saying no.
Neil, I wish I were in a position to help you. But as I've said, I'm already committed to finishing my MBA.
I understand. But this is such a fantastic opportunity, and our reputations are at stake here. If I go back to Ralph and say that I'd like to work on this fundraiser, but Vicky doesn't because she's busy with school, he'll be wondering, where are your priorities, work or school? And he reviews all promotional recommendations.
Look, Neil, it's up to me to decide what my priorities are. I made a decision to complete my MBA at night. I'm committed to that. Now, maybe I'll need to talk with Ralph myself, but I won't be pressured into doing something that I'm not ready to do.
Vicky did quite well standing up to Neil. By being aware of his manipulation tactics and knowing her own limits, she was able to remain assertive and in control. She set limits with Neil and continued to restate them, and in the end, resisted his manipulation. So how can you best stand up to manipulation? First of all, be aware of the different tactics used. Remain assertive. Take responsibility. Remember, you have choices. Don't be a victim. And evaluate the consequences of your decision not to give in. Once you have made a decision that you won't be manipulated, consider using conflict management techniques to resolve your situation. Now, let's review what we've covered in Part 1. We introduced the 6 techniques to use when trying to resolve conflict situations. Here's an example of each one.
Tom, I can't agree with that proposal. I really don't think it'll work. But I have another suggestion I'd like to make.
Look, I know you don't mean anything derogatory by it, but I really feel uncomfortable when you call me honey. Please, call me Paula. I'd really appreciate that.
I was just hoping you might be open to some suggestions for improving the system. It might save your department some money. And might win you some points with the sales and marketing people.
From the tone of your voice, I think there is a problem. Now let me ask you straight out. Is it a problem for you that I'm so much younger than you, or that I'm Hispanic?
If I do the budget numbers now, I won't have the credit report for you until tomorrow. Will that be okay?
Leonard,
If you continue to operate at an unsatisfactory performance level, it could affect your future employment with this company.
In Part 2, we illustrated the application of these techniques to special areas where conflict occurs.
As much as 20%.
What? That's totally ridiculous. It'll never work.
Everyone, I'd like you all to meet Vicki Douglas, our first female product manager. And I might add, a very good-looking woman, too.
You're management. We're union. You'll never understand us.
I can't believe you would pass up this chance. You are perfect for this job. You'll impress everyone.
Keep in mind that most conflicts are not about one person being right and the other person being wrong. Also remember, even the nicest, most reasonable people engage in conflict. After all, conflict is an inevitable byproduct of people having different needs, interests, and goals. In order to more simply illustrate the techniques you saw in this program, I chose to focus on only one person in each situation using them. But ideally, the best way to resolve conflict is to have all parties use conflict resolution techniques to produce win-win outcomes.